Little Big History of Paper by Kevin Jones. Paper is essential to our society. It has evolved alongside humans and has changed us as much as we have changed it. Paper's origins started in China during the year 105 AD. Its creator was the Emperor Hou-Di, who first documented the paper-making process. He solved the age-old crisis, with silk being too expensive and bamboo being too rough to write on. After the initial creation, paper was improved in small steps through collective learning, this including adding rags or fish nets, using more efficient trees like the mulberry tree. China's new product spread like wildfire. Literacy was now more achievable and at a quintessential time in the midst of the agricultural threshold. Paper moved from Korea to Samarkand to Egypt and even Europe in only a few hundred years. Paper's globalization followed the Silk Road and followed the many paths that better connected our human society at the time. Paper assisted people with writing books, and in turn made it easier with the printing press in 1440. Paper wasn't only for writing. As early as 600 AD, money was used. The Chinese government printed paper of different colors and designs, which could be used to pay for goods or taxes. White was for legal documents, yellow for government, and the blue for the temples of the Taoist. A trust in the government was now restored after years of a coin and gold shortage. Paper now had even more value. Europe's paper demand was much more sudden. For the longest time, people didn't need paper. Europe ran mostly on physical labor. Suddenly, Europe had a thirst for knowledge. The Enlightenment era, a time after the medieval ages where science and understanding became dominant over religion, but there was no modern paper, only parchment, which was horribly inefficient. People were desperate for paper, would even loot bodies of soldiers on battlefields just to get rags to send back to the mills. The solution was simple. Paper with wood as its main ingredient, an idea the Chinese came up with hundreds of years before. This solution was critical to the modern revolution. New fuel resources like coal made paper a booming industry. Europe could trade this good across all four world zones that had now interconnected. The Enlightenment era brought a new engineering feat for paper too. With the one-use daily paper, the newspaper was invented in 1702. We've come a long way since then, and so has this product. Paper today has many uses, and our world is heavily dependent on it. As much as 180 million tons of paper have been produced this year alone. The age of electronics is upon us, but that certainly doesn't mean the paper one has ended. This also means we consume a lot of trees, which is still paper's main ingredient. If we want to talk about paper composition, we'll have to go back millions of years. 300 million to be exact. This was long before even the dinosaurs came along. Plants back then couldn't grow more than a few feet tall. This wasn't a new superchemical, lignin, was formed. It made the tree cells stronger, and they could grow tall and sturdy, even develop early bark, which was rough and scaly. The problem was bacteria had no clue how to eat this chemical when the tree died, so it ended up never rotting. Years and years of stacking before bacteria finally evolved and made a solid layer in the earth. This in turn made much of the oil that is dug up today. Trees make our paper today and the fuel that runs our paper economy. Paper is found everywhere today. Its journey has gone all around the world through people, place, and time. Paper has a big history.